The Gestapo was the secret police of the Nazi state. They enforced rule through violent and ruthless means. Their job was to arrest undesirables and those considered a threat to Nazi Germany, such as Jews, gypsies, homosexuals, communists, and anyone who challenged or disrespected the government. These undesirables were sent to concentration camps, where the fit would do hard labor and the rest would be killed in gas chambers. On the night of November 9, 1938, in Paris, a young Jewish man shot a member of the German embassy staff as revenge for how the Nazis had treated his family. This led to Nazi retaliation, and the Gestapo and Hitler Youth started to attack the Jewish people. They beat them, murdered them, wrecked Jewish homes, and brutalized women and children. Pictured are Jewish victims fleeing, surrounded by armed soldiers. Throughout the German-controlled areas of Europe, Jewish stores were broken into and wrecked. Synagogues were vandalized. This night is now known as Kristallnacht, and some people consider this the beginning of the Holocaust as we know it. The Jewish people in this photo look scared while the soldiers appear threatening and cold. This photo is spontaneous, and the photographer was trying to document the significant night. The photo would change if the photographer focused on the exploding building instead of the people. The general mood of this photograph is intense, from the terrified people to the strict soldiers and the explosion in the background. I would like to know how the rest of the world was affected by this event. This photo was taken during the Warsaw Ghetto Rebellion. The boy in the front is Levi Zellenwager, the woman next to him is Shana Zellenwager, and the other people in the photo are Henke Lemmet, Matilda Lemmet Goldfinger, Leo Kartuinski, and Goldis Stavarowski. These people are all Jewish people who are being forced out of their home by members of the Gestapo seen on the right. The Gestapo officers are pointing guns at the Jewish to stop them from running away. They will be arrested and sent to concentration camps. The Jewish people look terrified of what is happening and what is to come. The photographer was trying to convey the power the Gestapo holds over the Jewish population. This photo is important to history because it was taken during the Warsaw Ghetto Rebellion, when some Jewish people who lived there used the few weapons they had to prevent themselves from getting arrested or murdered. The Gestapo fought back by burning down the buildings, arresting the defenseless, and forcing people out of hiding. The mood of this photo is terrifying because the people are so defenseless and they had done nothing wrong. This photo was spontaneous, and the photographer most likely worked for the Nazi Party, otherwise he would not have been able to take the photo. I would be interested to see what is behind the photographer and if he was taking the photo from behind the subjects instead of in front. There are most likely other Gestapo officers behind him ready with guns, which would make the situation seem even more threatening. The people in this photo are citizens who are getting searched for weapons and illegal goods by Gestapo officers. It is taken on a street somewhere in Nazi-occupied Europe. I can't see their faces very clearly, but I can see that the officers are very serious and take this job seriously. I think the photographer was trying to convey how severe the law enforcement was because there are 4 armed officers to search 3 unarmed citizens. This photo is important to history because it shows how regular citizens were affected by Hitler's rule and the Gestapo. I would like to know how often these searches occurred. There are guns in this photo, but they are not being used in a threatening way. This photo is spontaneous, and the photographer is in front of the subjects and they take up the entire frame. This photo would change if we could see what else was going on the street. I wonder whether there are other people getting searched as well, and the mood of this photo is cold and severe. The officers are clearly very strict and the citizens have no choice but to comply. The people in this photo are Gestapo officers and prisoners separated by a fence. One of the prisoners looks angry while the officers appear intimidating. This photo is spontaneous, and the photographer captured the relationship between the officers and the prisoner by capturing them both in the photo and staring at each other. This photo would change if it was only the prisoners or only the officers in the photo. You would not see the tension between them, which the photographer was trying to capture. This photo is important to history because it shows the people who lived through this. It shows the anger that the prisoners felt and how little the officers thought of the prisoners, like they were inhuman. I wonder why there were so many officers there and what was actually going on when this photo was taken. The mood of the photo is anger, and that comes from the glare that the prisoner is giving the officer. Gestapo officers also worked in concentration camps. This is a picture taken after mass executions in gas chambers at Lager Nordhausen subcamp. There are many people in this photo, but most of them are deceased prisoners and others are too distant to see properly. Some are probably prisoners and others are Gestapo officers. There are buildings in this photo and they look like they are in poor condition. This photo is taken from above so that we can see everything that is happening. We would lose some of the effect of seeing the bodies if the photographer was standing on the ground and we could not see as many. This photo is spontaneous and the mood of the photo is very dark and sad. The photographer was trying to capture that by showing us the many bodies strewn about like they're nothing. This photo is important to history because it shows the many people who were murdered in concentration camps and how their bodies were treated. I wonder how many bodies were on the other side of the photographer as well, and what happened after because they can't just leave them all rotting on the streets.